everybody, a happy Friday to you. Hope you've had a good week and you've been enjoying yourself and finding things to do to keep you busy and out of mischief. Well, I have pretty much had a quiet week and haven't gotten to too much mischief myself, so there we go. Alrighty, let's get on to our agenda for today. Today's shout-out, or the shout-out for this week, goes to Aaron's Collecting and Detecting. That's Aaron's Collecting and Detecting. So check out Aaron. He does, as you can tell, metal detecting, but he also is a collector, and his primary thing to collect is sports trading cards. And let me tell you, he has quite the collection. You really should check out and see the collection Aaron has. Always amazes me. But yeah, go by and check out Aaron's Collecting and Detecting. Alrighty, it's story time. And this week we are on to Chapter 9 of Robin Hood. Last week, if you remember, we saw Will Scarlet rescued from Sir Roger's castle, which was named Evil Hold. And Sir Roger was killed, and the merry men rescued both Will Scarlet and Sir Richard of Lee. So let's pick up our story from there, shall we, in Chapter 9. Title of this week's chapter, How the Abbot Was Paid. Will Scarlet, thanks to Maid Marian's skilled nursing, made a rapid recovery. But Sir Richard's real doctor was Friar Tuck, who fed him so well the old man grew hale and hearty. Perhaps the fresh air of Sherwood Forest did its part too, for by the end of the month Sir Richard looked 20 years younger. He told them how Sir Roger had treacherously captured him on his return from the Holy Land. Sir Roger had kept him for nearly a year in that dungeon on water and crusts of mouldy bread. Just why, Sir Richard didn't know. "I think I know," Robin said. "The idea was our worthy abbot's." "But why would the abbot wish to keep me in prison?" asked Sir Richard. "Because you owe him money, Sir Richard. Because if you remain in prison, you could not repay that money, and in that case the abbot would seize your lands." "Alas, I still cannot repay that money," said Sir Richard, "and he will seize my lands just the same. The debt falls due at sunset tomorrow, and I shall then be a landless man." "You have a son-in-law," Robin reminded him with a smile. "I will give you the money. How much is it?" Sir Richard too smiled. He highly approved of the young man his daughter had married. Then his smile faded. "Alas," he said with a sigh, "the sum I owe the abbot is 1,000 gold marks." Robin whistled. 1,000 gold marks was far more than the band's treasury contained. They counted the coins hidden in the gnarled roots of the oak tree, but they came to hardly half that sum. Sir Richard shrugged and regained his good humor. Though he was an old man, he was, he said, quite content to live with Robin's band of foresters under the greenwood, doing what he could to help. Robin remained thoughtful, however, and that night Marian grumbled gently because he came home so late. Had he perhaps found a prettier girl somewhere? Robin laughed at her and took her tenderly into his arms. The next day Sir Richard went sadly to the abbey to explain to the abbot that he could not pay the debt he owed. The estate of Lee was worth many thousands of gold marks, and the old man had come to beg for a few more months of grace. The abbot of St. Mary's was in a particularly bad temper that day. He had a guest, a grave churchman who came with letters of authority sealed and signed by the king. Though Sir Richard was still supposed to be abroad, the abbot dared not ignore a person who came in the royal name. The man pushed his nose in everywhere, asking questions in his deep voice. His most irritating habit was that he insisted on keeping his face covered with a cowl. He got on the abbot's nerves. The worst part was that the abbot had to be polite to him. Then there were other reasons for the abbot's ill humor. The cook had ruined his dinner. Sir Guy of Gisborne had come to say someone had broken in last night and robbed the abbey's treasure. Exactly 1,000 gold marks were missing. It was a disaster. But there was one consolation. Here was Sir Richard of Lee come to say he could not pay his debts. The abbot's mean little eyes twinkled. He even attempted a small joke. "Sir Richard," he said, "but unfortunately no longer of Lee." "Sir Richard of Lee at least until sunset," said the clerk whom Sir Richard had brought along with him. The abbot scowled at the clerk. He was an impudent young fellow in the costume of a begging friar, and he wore a red beard. "The sun will set in exactly 5 minutes," the abbot grunted. "Grant me but a few weeks more, my lord," begged Sir Richard. "The estate of Lee has belonged to my family for generations. Without it, I am but a pauper." "That is of no interest to me," said the abbot. "Pay the debt you owe me, or my men shall seize Lee this very night." "Have mercy on him, worthy abbot," said Sir Richard's clerk. "He spent the money you lent him in the services of the king." "What is that to me? Enough of this tomfoolery." "For the sake of the Holy Church," cried Sir Richard, "grant me but a few more days." "Not even 5 minutes," said the abbot. In a corner of the room, unseen by the others, sat the mysterious churchman who had come to the abbey in the name of the king. He said nothing, but he seemed to be making a note of how business was done in the abbey of St. Mary's. "Not even 2 minutes," the abbot shouted, darting a glance toward the window where the sun was about to set. He grasped the deeds to Lead Manor and held the old parchment in his greedy fingers. 1,000 gold marks, Sir Richard, or these deeds of ownership are mine." Sir Richard sighed. Then, to his astonishment, his red-haired clerk rose. His clerk was Robin Hood, and Sir Richard wondered why Robin had insisted on coming with him. Even in disguise, such a visit was a highly dangerous adventure for Robin. "Think again, Sir Abbot," said Robin Hood, and he threw down a bag of gold on the table. The abbot went pale as he counted out the money. His fingers shook, but there was no mistake. The sum was correct. There were 1,000 gold marks, no more, no less. And so, just in time, Sir Richard paid his debt and left the abbey with the deeds of Lee safely in his pocket. There was only one person more startled than Sir Richard himself. This was the abbot. For as he counted the coins over and over again, he suddenly realized something. It was the exact sum which had been stolen last night from the abbey treasury. It was, in fact, the same identical money, but there was no way that the abbot could ever prove it. And that's the end of this week's chapter. And that's how the abbot was paid. It's a pretty good trick, huh? You pay him back with his own money. And next week's chapter, which will be chapter 10, we've been doing this for that many weeks, how the Black Knight came again. So there we go. I guess a Black Knight that saved them at Evil Hold is going to return to the fray, and maybe we'll find out who he is. So that's for next week. And I think that it might even be the last chapter. I do believe it is. So next week is our final chapter of Robin Hood, chapter 10, How the Black Knight Came Again. Alrighty. So, you're sitting down, you got your seatbelt fastened, you're girded yourself, braced yourself, and you're ready for it. Because here it comes. The groaner of the week. Well, quite a few years back, and we can tell by the amounts, a young boy was getting ready to go off to Sunday school, and his father pulled him aside and said, "Now, son, I'm going to give you a quarter and a penny. And when they take up the collection at Sunday school, I want you to decide which of the two you're going to give to the church. That's your decision to make. So off the young boy went to Sunday school, and he had a wonderful time. The minister even came and gave a short message to all the children in the Sunday school. And at the end, the young boy came home, and his father was waiting for him. And his father said, "Well, son, which of the 2 coins did you place in the collection?" And the little boy says, "Well, Dad, I was really struggling as to which one I should put in, but then Pastor Jones gave a really good talk to us about how the Lord loves a cheerful giver. And I knew I'd be a lot more cheerful giving a penny than I would a quarter." So there you go. There's your groaner for the week. Hope you have a great weekend and you'll enjoy yourself. Get out there, do something outside, go metal detecting, go fishing, go for a walk in the park, whatever. Enjoy the weather as much as you can. It's blowing a gale here today. 58-kilometer-an-hour winds, which I'm not sure what that would be in miles per hour, but probably somewhere close to 30 miles an hour. And the trees are whipping and bending, and we're under a wind warning. So I don't think I'm going to probably go outside, but I've got some things inside to keep me busy. So until Tuesday when we have some fun in the kitchen, take care, stay safe,